Hello Wujuu, and welcome to your weekly review. So, covering any questions first, nothing in specific. I just finally got a couple of kills and was able to get myself a decent pass on Sylvanas. Now to see what I did wrong, considering it was our deepest, it's our/my cleanest kill. Worked on CD timing a little bit and trying to keep steady focus high prior. Last time we reviewed, you said I needed to work on those because I was using CDs before bad mechanics. Alright, perfect then. So it's a VOD, let's see here, and it's a kill I assume, so I won't have to go digging for a particular pull. Let me just check setup though, yeah, so this is the kill. Fragments with crit setup, I mean generally speaking, well, I mean I guess it doesn't matter so much for farm, but normally you pick Shadow of Cure over Beck. Running Kurain, which is interesting. I haven't actually kept myself completely up to date on Night Fae meta for this boss, but you know, I have reason to believe that Kurain is a solid pick. Although, well, this is Beast Mastery. What am I doing? Well, it seems to be a bit of a mix. I guess it would really depend. I'm a little bit skeptical of the choice. Obviously, the absolute rank 1 does it, but you know, you also get 17 PIs, and then you look at the top non-PI performers, and they have they're running Nia, but also a few Kurains in here. I think it really depends how much how much you're getting out of them on the arrows. For example, this guy, he got 1.3 million damage on the arrows, and you got 1.3 as well. So I mean, if it was good for him, it was probably good for you as well. It's tough to theory craft. I'd say if you're not getting like full nuke value of the buff on the ads, it's a bit dubious. But I mean the outcome was pretty good, so yeah, no major complaints. As for the rest of the setup, optical target and beginner is pretty much optimal here, and yeah, nothing else to remark on. Deadly Chain as well, Spirit Attunement. Very low eye level Spirit Attunement, but that doesn't really matter. And I'd say, yeah, especially with the amount of damage you're getting off on chains, running Deadly Chain is certainly the farm choice. Alright, let's see, just skipping a little bit ahead. Wait, that's an interesting pull. I guess some ninja pulls? Oh, maybe not, I don't know. Okay, so you're saving your first good on the double steady focus here. Double steady, double arcane, double steady again into aim shot. Now you gotta think about how you want to approach these, because you cannot rapid. Well, with True Shot you can. If you didn't have True Shot there, obviously you would need to save the rapid fire for the chains, pop in the double tap as soon as you know you're not gonna cast another aim shot before the hit. So now, like the main thing I'm gonna look at here is like your timing leading up to these. So I'm just gonna roll it back a little bit. Also, like just as a UI criticism, we got some overlap here, which like when these readability timelines they pass the cast bar, they becomes not so clear. And here, like here, they actually overlap with the cast, so you can't see the exact timing, which is important for this particular fight because you kind of want to hit Wild Spirits and Volley at a particular time, usually around 1 second. So let's see, when you hit it, let's say that's a little bit early. Might not be though. Ah, that's pretty much fine. But the arrows are dead really quick. Also, you've forgotten your potion. That seems like it would have been a perfect time to potion, given that it was your like your top damage moment for the whole fight. And the next one you may possibly have been able to potion. I guess this potion, well, I don't know. Well, I guess you wouldn't, if you potioned here, you wouldn't have been able to potion until later, but when do you potion? That's the question. So let's find it there. Okay, so if you save your first potion for like really long into the fight, lot of deep, like, well, I mean, modest amount of easy damage gain just by potioning this point. Alright, just go back again. Speeding it up. Very good choice. I don't know if it's a conscious choice, but it's very good that you're casting aim shot, rapid fire. because that way, as the arrows are dying, your rapid fire is still gaining value, whereas if you start an aim shot cast and you die mid-cast, you don't get any value. Just like, I think maybe I talked about it in one of your reviews on Sire with the opening phase 1 ads. Same concept here. Alright. Really should have hit that aim shot to get it off 2 charges. And now it's very important that you resist the temptation to cast Steady Shot, because you want to greet as many Wild Spirits procs as you can. So you want to follow the same shot that's coming up with a Arcane. I guess you're gonna have to do Darkness anyway. You know, at that point, like, if you're missing the last few seconds of Wild Spirits due to having to bait this mechanic, then you might want to pop it a little bit sooner. Yeah. So, min-max there. Okay, speeding it up a little bit. Bit of downtime there while moving. Should have been some steady shots. That's why I like generally jumping around is a bad habit. It's a very easy one to develop. Because technically you can move with less effort. But sometimes it's the case that like you land as your GCD is coming to an end, and you're more inclined to wait until the GCD is over and casting aim shot than actually filling that time. Or indeed, you cannot aim shot as soon as you stop moving because you're still mid-air from jumping. Alright. So here, main mistake is that you didn't save rapid fire. It's very close, but like, you know, suspect that, yeah, I mean, this, instead of getting just a single aim shot off of these, you could have gotten a full aim shot in rapid fire, which is a huge difference. Now this aim shot is kind of getting wasted. It's getting sent into like these dying arrows, which is not obviously not nearly as good as a full set. So definitely want to stay on top of your timers. Make sure you save that rapid fire. Alright. So here, what you want to do is you want to try and catch, since you're running careful aim, you want to try and catch one of them with an aim shot. One of the Dark Sentinels that's coming into the pack very late. Because if you're lucky, then you might be able to snipe a careful aimed with trick shots and then follow it up with a rapid fire. So in this case, they seem to be dying too quickly, but sometimes like as they're gathering, you can, like, if you have 3 stacked, you can activate trick shots. Then you sort of wait a little bit and you try and look for a Dark Sentinel that is a little bit away from the others, so it's not getting cleaved as hard, and it's on high health, and it's on the way to joining the others. And then you start an aim shot cast in that one. And the logic is that by the time the aim shot cast is finished, it has joined the pack, but its health has not dropped below 70%. And you might just get a lot more burst cleave that way. Like these are very small details that can actually make quite a bit of difference, because the difference between an aim shot like that's cleaving to such an extent, having careful aim or not, is pretty huge on the DPS meter. Bit of downtime there from chasing the final Dark Sentinels. Wait, let me see. Might be a macro you need. So I'm looking at this. Okay, so basically, what I was looking for was whether you disengaged after the rapid fire, but like you were casting aim shot, so not relevant. Good, getting the rapid fire aggressively off CD there. Alright, now you want to pop this Wild Spirits down absolutely immediately. Still would be a great time to pot. Okay. That situation, like here, you lose a lot of damage here to just like not targeting the boss. I guess maybe you're stopping. Yeah, okay, that looks like you're stopping DPS towards the end of your Wild Spirits. Seems like you might gain a lot just by having Wild Spirits up a little sooner, both in the beginning and at this point. Since you're wasting, for the first Wild Spirit, you're wasting a bit of it because you're doing a mechanic, and then here, like, you're wasting a bit of it because you're stopping DPS at that point. What also looks like it could be possible is, imagine if this part of Wild Spirits was like over here, maybe with some luck it was actually touching the boss, If you place, like if you know that the tank's movements are going to be fairly consistent, you could place Wild Spirits a little bit more to the left from this perspective. And you might even capture some cleave on the boss, which could make a huge difference. Since it's pretty close, and often like they don't even need to be fully inside the circle, they can just like ride the edge of it and that'll be enough. Alright. So here, like, as soon as these Dark Sentinels are up, like, you should be desperate to be doing some damage now, because you can't do damage to the boss. So you should be over there, not out of range of the Sentinels as they're spawning. Like, you should be one of the first to hit the as they spawn. Here you fire off an aim shot that is not trick shots affected, which seems like a waste. This would be another opportunity to do the Dark Sentinel sort of trick thing that I mentioned earlier. Raw Warrior doing a decent job maximizing cleave on them. I just feel like maybe there was another aim shot in there. And maybe even a careful aimed one, if you did the strat I mentioned earlier. And now the face is basically still until this point. Okay, so you want to double tap instantly, and you want to volley at like the 1 second mark. So, okay, so here you turtle before volley. What I like to do is I pop down my volley, sort of 1 second before the domination change timer is up, and then I turtle in the middle of the volley GCD. And then by the time the GCD is over, I can really quickly tap turtle off and I can start casting immediately. Because you'll see what happens here is you're in turtle before you volleyed. So now the mechanic is over. And now you put down volley on you almost die. And you're doing damage. So that's a lot of wasted time. And also it seems like you forget about the fact that you have trick shots up here. So, oh, that's so scary. So this aim shot should be followed straight up by the rapid fire, but instead you cast a multi-shot. Now this rapid fire, I mean, it's obviously going to be affected by trick shots, but it looked like a few of the arrows died before the rapid fire was probably over. That could certainly have happened. Good chasing of the arrows here, now the phase is basically over. What I would focus on here, so what I notice is that you're not tracking your chaos fragment. And there's a lot of opportunity for min-maxing here. Because one of the most important things for a good Sylvanas pass is getting a Chaos Bane proc on the first ad platform downstairs. And to do that, you need like 10, 11, I mean, it's very RNG of course, but in my experience, 10, 11, 12 stacks of Soul Fragment by the time this phase ends. But your UI does not currently show Soul Fragment. It looks like you have one. So let me go up here. Yeah, okay, so at this point, while Rive is going on, you actually tick over 14. And that's just bad luck. I mean, you cannot reasonably make Chaos Bane go slower. Well, you can by not attacking, but sometimes it'll proc anyway in my experience. But that is just something to keep in mind. Like, keep an eye on the Soul Fragment stacks. If you're coming up to the end of phase 1, where you get teleported down here, and you're on like 10, 11 stacks, I would stop DPS. But there's another thing you have to worry about, which is that if you don't refresh Soul Fragment every so often, it's just going to fall off. And that's even worse than having it proc at a bad time. So reach 10 to 12 stacks at the end of phase 1. And then as you're running across the platform here, whichever one it is, or across the bridge in phase 2, you hit the boss just to refresh it, so to prevent it from expiring. And from that point on, you're basically just praying that you're going to generate the remaining stacks quickly as you are engaging the first ad platform down here. And if you can get a Chaos Bane proc on this Wild Spirits down here with your potion, with your IQD, you get rank 1. If all the other things are in order as well. However, if it procs early, then your goal is actually to mash Steady Shot as much as possible to generate stacks really aggressively. Down here. There's also a trick you can use Beast Law, an ability in your spellbook, to generate Soul Fragment stacks without actually having to hit anything. So you can use that to generate a refresh even now when you're not attacking the boss. So well, actually, I guess you can't do that with MM. You can do it as BM because you need to cast Beast Law on your pet, but you don't have a pet, so never mind. Okay, good double tap early. A little min-max you could do here is pre-target the boss, and as you're running, you could double steady and get steady focus up early, because you're kind of competing for the AoE in this platform. If you have to spend 4 seconds casting steady shot twice before getting into your burst, you might miss out a little bit. And indeed, like here they've spawned, but you're kind of slow to actually begin attacking. It takes like several seconds. That should have gone quicker for sure. Now the potion comes. And also what I prefer to do here is hit the Goliath, at least on farm. Obviously, Stamina is the real prior target. But the Goliath will give you much more opportunity to get some more aim shots within the careful aim window. And since it ultimately determines the speed at which this platform is over, you know, it usually does make a difference if your lack of contribution in the summoner will pretty much never make the difference between things going awry. Alright, getting over here quick. Double steady as soon as you get in range. Bit of downtime before stopping to hit the aim shot there. Alright, double steady. So volley here. Volley here is potentially questionable because I worry if you're gonna get volley up for the next ad platform. And the same goes with double tap. Double tap I would generally always save. Well, I don't know, maybe not actually. Tough one. If you're Kyrian, you would always save it, but it's not as clear for Night Fae. Alright, waiting here. Here, once again, it's an opportunity to be hitting the boss with some steady shots as you're running. It's a little bit risky though, because you have to strafe and you have to navigate this bridge without falling off. But it is a min-max. Now you just want to be spamming tab, waiting for these ads to go up, and as soon as they are, you double steady. So so your targeting strategy could use a little work, because so you're basically waiting for the boss frames to appear, and then you're clicking your target, and then you're starting to cast. But it's much better if you're waiting for something to become active, you just, what I do is, I'll mash tab with my ring finger or pinky, while also matching whatever my steady shot bind is. In my case, it's 2. So I'm literally just alternating those two buttons with my pinky and my ring finger, if you can imagine that. That way, as soon as they spawn, I'm basically already casting. And of course you want to be targeting the right thing, but then while that steady shot you're firing is casting, that gives you plenty of time to pick the right target on your frames. And that can buy you a little bit of uptime. Okay, it ended up with volley coming off here. But you see, in your case, you don't even have steady shot, steady focus up at all. And double tap. Nah, double tap is not up. It'll have to be for the next platform, but that's okay. No major complaints here. Obviously, there's a bit of padding you can do on these small ads. Sniping careful aim, that's more relevant on the next platform, we'll get to that. Ooh! Okay. Double steady as soon as you're over, then straight into your CDs. Volley as well. Okay, casting this aim shot outside of true shot while you still have a precise shot stack available is a small mistake. A double steady. Delaying the rapid fire a little bit too much. Alright, now you basically want to pay attention, because as soon as the boss goes immune, the only way to do more damage here is basically to identify ads that you can snipe careful aim on. So that would be at which point? Has the boss gone immune yet? I guess it has. Okay, now, okay. So from this point on, you're basically, what I prefer, I'll turn around here and I'll do exactly what I said on the previous platform. But instead of spamming tab with my pinky and steady shot with my ring finger, it'll be aim shot. So I'm basically just looking to catch an ad as soon as it spawns and fire off an aim shot immediately to snipe careful aim on it. Because while you are, hitting these up front, there are ads spawning behind you that you could potentially be hitting for example, that one right here. You could be hitting that one, or like ones that spawn this one right here. All of these could be aim shotted for a huge bit of extra damage. And now, yeah, it's very important that you hit Enduin here with, well, it's not very important, but it's important that you hit Enduin with an arcane shot so you can get a fresh core stack. Now you're going to go straight into a double tap aim shot. That is mostly just to keep it synced. Keep double tap synced with the Wild Spirit as much as possible. Because if you delay it too much, like here, this double tap should have been cast before this aim shot. Because the longer you delay it, the more desynced they're gonna become, and it's gonna screw you up later. So you wonder when you're gonna cast that double tap. It feels a bit like you're not gonna cast it, and you're gonna miss a cast. It does indeed seem like you may miss the cast. Because at this point, even if you do cast it, it'll be so desynced with Wild Spirits, it's not a good time. And you might also miss out on the whole double tap with the boss above 70% HP, which is a big loss. Alright. So now you just want to set up for the next set of CDs, so you pop the double tap, straight into the CDs. So that's good, although the double tap, you did lose the cast. Now you're just trying to greet as many casts as humanly possible. So far, I have no issues with your decision making, except what are you going to cast after the same shot? It's going to be Arcane, which is good, or Steady Shot. It's going to be Arcane, perfect. Alright, double steady. Panic, accelerate. Alright, now I want you to not forget about this next double tap. You hit it right now, perfect. Aim shot into Arcane, into Rapid Fire, perfect. The reason I'm quiet is because I have no issues with your play. Speed it up a little bit. You can fire off this volley of CD. Saving it does not gain you anything. Alright, now you want to do the same kind of good CD window you did earlier, double tap into your CDs. So what would be good is, because you have downtime here during Veil anyway, this would be a great time to pop your Wild Spirits down. Because you cannot really wait too long, or it's gonna overlap with your race. So that is a small min-max I would do. So leading up to Veil, I would do a steady focus refresh, like nowish, maybe a little bit sooner. Maybe even before this turtle. And then while the boss is gone, you would Wild Spirit and everything, because that way you're actually making use of the downtime. And you basically gain 2 globals, because also the volley, Here to come, also potion. Alright, perfect. I want to double steady. All good so far. Wonder if you're gonna get another Wild Spirit? Yeah, easily. I just underestimate how slowly the boss's health goes down here. Alright. Getting up to the CDs, jumping in incitement, and you fucking IQD even proc stats at this point in the fight. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, your phase 3 is, I mean, in terms of like button pressing decision making, is nearly perfect. Very few min maxes you could do. Small min maxes to make in phase 2. And I think the most significant gains are going to come from phase 1, especially by virtue of you running Karain. I didn't even get into Karain specific things, but for example, you know, the thing I mentioned about the Dark Sentinels is even more potent. Like the whole thing I mentioned about like the careful aim thing. Oh my god. Even in the phase 2 thing on the last platform, the thing I mentioned about like sniping careful aims on those ads, not only will you get some careful aims, but they'll all be like, they'll all crit just from the Karain first strike thing. So yeah, all the more reason to do that, and also to do the Dark Sentinel thing. Anyway, I hope you find that useful. Any questions, hit me up on Discord. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.